Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Hope you're having a great Monday. Show full of the latest hot topics everyone's talking about. Remind you over Facebook, X, IG, TikTok, and please go on our YouTube page, Stephen Knight Show, where you can comment and subscribe. Make sure you're registered to vote. And also, this is Mental Health Awareness Month. So make sure you're doing what you can for your mental health. It's very important. We're seeing so much craziness in the world. I think a lot of people are neglecting that. But let me ask Linnea, Brittany, we're gonna hold it down tonight. How are y'all doing? How was the weekend? First of all, happy belated Mother's Day to both of you. You both mothers. How was your weekend?
Thank you. I had a good time. I went to New Orleans and everything.
Oh, did you? That voice
Yeah.
on. And Linnea, I know you went to a wedding.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And
yeah.
now I feel like crap. So yeah, it was a wonderful time. I could have stayed in the house and I got sick,
Right.
but it is what it is.
Exactly. I went to this art show at Chastain Park here in Atlanta. It was pretty cool. An independent artist. I met this one guy. He actually used to work for MTV. He might come on the show one day. He had a lot of stories. He does art now though. All right. Well, our question of the day is it rude to tell someone that you don't remember them? Like if you bump into someone, they come up to you and speak. If you don't remember who they are, is that rude to tell them? I'll let you go personally.
No, nope, it is not. Sometimes it'll be like, depending on the interaction, you could be like, somebody could be like, oh, and then you try to fish for information
Right.
to jog your memory, or sometimes it's just like, oh my God, where do I know you from? And then
Mhm.
like I'm like, where I know you from, Heifer? No, like where? Oh my God, it's slipping my mind. Like, forgive
Yeah.
me. You know what I mean? So no, I don't think that it's rude.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Brittany?
I don't think it's rude either. I think like you getting into like muddy waters trying to pretend like you remember them. And then like you might end up saying something and that's not where you really know them from. So
Yeah.
I'll be like, I, just refresh my memory. That's what I'm gonna say. Remind me where I met you. Like,
Right.
just say that.
Yeah. I'm horrible of names anyway, and I'm horrible of things like that. And I am the one that will try to act like I remember you. This happened to me the other day. This lady, she said, Steven, right? Yeah. She told me her name. I said, oh, okay. I didn't know how cool she was. But some of our responses online, someone said, excuse me, do I know you from somewhere? LOL. Someone said, no, not to me, because how am I rude if I'm truly don't remember, and don't let me get on the name. And I'm like, that. No, it's not rude. I usually tell them, help me remember who you are and where I know you from. Someone said, I hope not, because I do it all the time. Gerald said, nope, I do it all the time. Karen said she just did it yesterday. Melody said, not at all. It's honest, and we could use a little more of it in the world. Hell, I can't remember what I wore last week. We're human,
Yeah.
and we will forget people from time to time. But there are a lot of responses. But tweet us at home, let us know. Is it rude to tell us when you don't remember them? All right. Well, Florida authorities released the body cam footage of airman Roger Fortson's death. According to the New York Post, the video shows the serviceman was shot several times immediately after opening the door to his apartment. The 23-year-old was killed by a deputy reportedly responding to a domestic violence call at the Ches Inn Apartments in Fort Walton. A woman called the police department on May 3rd to report that she heard arguing from an adjacent apartment. Instead of going to the troubles couple's apartment, the officer went to Rogers. The special operations airman was leery of the knock at his door. Therefore, he retrieved his legally registered handgun. People reports, People Magazine, there reports that after the deputy reached Forson's front door, he does not appear to announce himself. He moves to the side instead of standing in front of the peephole. As previously reported, this is by the Shade Room, the airman's girlfriend said that she said that he didn't see him at the door. They were on FaceTime at the time. The deputy says, sheriff's office, open the door. The 20-something eventually opens the front door, 23, opens the front door. A gun appears to be by his side, pointing to the ground. The officer shoots him multiple times and then says, drop your gun, drop your gun. This is when he's already on the ground. After being repeatedly shot in the chest, Fortson somehow says It's over there. I don't have it, he yelled. The senior airman rolled over to his side. The officer then called for backup and EMS. Attorney Ben Crump stated that Roger did not know it was a sheriff's deputy at his front door. He was a great guy. They took a patriot from us. This is Crump. Justice Crump revealed that Force was on FaceTime, I said, with his girlfriend at the time of the incident. He released the footage of the recorded call to People magazine. The camera was facing the ceiling fan at Roger's apartment. The military official moans and says, "I can't breathe." The officer shouts, "Don't move, stop moving." Forson passed away from his injuries at the hospital. An unidentified officer is currently on administrative leave pending an investigation. Now, I saw when this happened, and again, he was at home by himself on FaceTime with his girlfriend. Police officer, they're sent to the wrong apartment, and he bangs on the door. The guy doesn't come to the door initially, and then he does. He has his gun to his side, and the officer just starts shooting when he opened the door. So, what are your thoughts on the story, Linnea?
We talk about being frustrated with stuff like this, and it's frustrating because why wouldn't you go to the house of the people who called you first to get confirmation?
Yeah.
And then go to the right apartment? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, they went to the wrong apartment. This is why, if I ain't expecting company, I'm not answering my door.
I don't want to go. Yeah, neither.
Period. And let's keep it all the way funky. Sometimes when police officers go to people's homes, they do cover up the people. Or they're standing in a way to where you really can't see them.
Right.
I got a Ring camera on my door. I know when everybody coming and going.
Right.
As long as you walk across my door, I see that motion and I get an alert.
Right.
If I'm not expecting you, then I'm not opening up my door. And I'm gonna look right out the window until you get away from my door.
Right. Me too. That's me.
So I send prayers to his family.
Yeah.
But you should have went to the people who called you. You should have went to their home first.
Yep. Yeah.
Because if somebody, especially with the way the cops knock on the door, I'm taking my gun too.
Yeah, you banging on the door. Yeah.
I'm taking because I got my license to carry. I'm taking my gun too.
Yep.
So it's a shame.
Brittany, what are your thoughts?
I saw the video and I thought it was very, very just heartbreaking. He knocks on the door and then he bends around the corner.
Right.
Intentionally. And he did it over and over again.
Yeah.
Instead of allowing people to see who's at the door. And then even his cousin, I read in one of the comments, his cousin was like, "You beating on my door aggressively."
Right.
Yelling out cops. That could be anybody trying to break into somebody's apartment.
Yep.
And so he goes and gets the gun and he answers the door with the gun at his side pointed down. And you still shooting him.
Yeah.
And he points to he still is able somehow to point to the gun and say, "It's all the way over there."
Right.
And y'all yelling at me about a gun while he's on the ground. I definitely think they have a case. I definitely think there needs to be harsh consequences, especially in the state of Florida where you have the right to bear arms.
Yeah.
He had every right to defend himself in Florida.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense. I hope that they get justice for him. And it's very heartbreaking. I'm like Linnea, I don't answer the door. If I don't know you, if you don't call me, I don't answer the door.
Yeah. Yep. No, you're right. I remember one morning, this lady was knocking at my front door, and I was looking at from upstairs. I'm like, "Who is this lady?" And she was knocking. She kept knocking, and then I saw her go to my neighbor's house, and she came back to my house. So she was trying to get my attention. So that's the reason why I came to the door. Turned out someone had broken in my car and had taken I used to keep my wallet in my car. They had taken my wallet and threw it by the mailbox. She found it. But I wouldn't open that door. I don't know that lady. I was just watching her, But definitely hope justice is served. Again, the man had he didn't even have the gun pointed at him. He had it to his side, But yeah. All right, well, Shaunie Henderson has a new husband, a new relationship with God, and a new book. In the portion of her memoir, she opens up about her marriage to Shaq, revealing that she's unsure if she was ever really married to him. So looking back, I don't know if I ever really in love with that man, but I was in love with the idea of being married to the man I had a family with. She said, I was in love with the idea of building a life together. I truly did enjoy spending time with him. NBA road trips gave me a chance to be with my husband, experience NBA life for a little while. Now, while discussing their relationship, including Shaq's infidelity, Shaunie acknowledged that Shaq was trying to be the best father and husband he could be while juggling fame, fortune, and the temptation of women. How could anyone possibly know how to do that, she said. Shaq and Shaunie jumped the broom in 2002 and were together 9 years before deciding to call quits. And Shaq did respond to her on in his social media, and he said something like he pretty much he understood what she meant, and he said blessings because he's been open about his infidelity. Brittany, what are your thoughts on this? Because I was thinking, okay, I get her perspective, but then someone said, well, why'd you marry him? Why'd you have all these kids with him? You know, did you really just want the NBA life? What are your thoughts?
I think that once you finally experience love,
Mm-hmm.
it is nothing wrong with being like, okay, that wasn't love. I thought it was in that moment, but if I'm being loved properly now, that couldn't have been love.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think, like, to the comment about the kids being involved, like, sometimes as women, we stay because of the kids. And we put up with more than we should because we had kids by this man. And it
Mm-hmm.
don't mean it's right, but that's typically what we tend to do because nobody goes into a situation wanting to be a baby mama.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not that I know of. So I completely understand what she was trying to say. I think that once you know better, you do better, is
Yeah.
what she meant.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Lynette?
Not saying that this is Shaunie's situation, but some women really only get married to the idea of being married
Mm-hmm.
and not being in a relationship that is a marriage. Some women want the pomp and circumstance of having a wedding so all eyes can be on them, but don't continue to do the work
Mm-hmm.
after the wedding is done. So I'm not saying that that was her situation,
Right.
but that's a lot of people who get married. They get married for the wrong reasons, and what happens is, I really do. The phrase "I stayed from my kids" really kind of does something to me, because what you're teaching your children, especially your daughters,
Mm-hmm.
is that this is how a man acts. This is what you're supposed to accept if you have kids by this person, and you're supposed to put up with that. And yes, Shaq has admitted, he did a lot.
Yeah.
He did a lot. And when women go into these situations, you gotta understand, right? Unless that man has control over his faculties, he looser than a goose out here in these streets.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you signed up for to begin with. I'm not saying all of them do it, but especially when they're young. You see all these young boys out here just poking anything. Now they got all these different kids.
Yeah.
Most men be thinking the more kids I have, the more of a man that I am. More kids with different women, and that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
But Shaq had said something before about he's always, if she ever needed something, like, she can get that
Yeah.
because she put with so much.
Mm-hmm.
And she probably had love for him. She
Yeah.
may not have been loving, like Brittany said. When you experience being loved in a way that you've never been loved before, it's like never being loved before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like you've never been loved before.
Mm-hmm.
And having gone through that experience in the relationship that I'm in now, and we're 7 years in,
Mm-hmm.
I've never been loved like this.
Yeah.
This man listens to me and hears me. and he loves me. He loves me through my mess. When I'm going through it and I don't feel beautiful and I don't feel like I'm enough, he loves me through that the same way I love him through his mess and when he's going through whatever he's going through.
Right. Yep.
So it's very plausible. But of course, when the internet gets a hold of it, they try to turn it into something bad because you see this right here, the whole headlines is like, oh, she ain't really love him. Da, da, da. And that's, I didn't even know before this that it was a book involved.
Yeah.
Because of the headline.
Right. Yeah.
So
I do think I like the way I like the, to Lanier's point, I love the way Shaq handled it. Like very classy.
Yeah.
Because he could have got like he could have did a low blows or
Yep.
said something like, so I think that says a lot about his character, that he rose above the clickbait.
Yeah, he did. And she even said, how could he be the best he could, with so much Adam Young, all this money, all this fame. So, all right, well, there's a lot of action outside of Drake's mansion in Toronto all last week. Now it looks like his security has caught another person who allegedly tried to get into the property. According to photos and videos obtained by TMZ TV, security can be seen holding down a man dressed in all black onto the lawn. The site reports that the eyewitnesses said that the man was riding by the home on a bike when he saw two security guards tackling him to the ground. They reportedly placed the knee on his back to prevent him from getting up. Officials and Drake's team have not spoken out about the alleged trespasser. A line of events have happened throughout last week, starting with one of his security guards getting injured in what officials describe as a drive-by shooting. As the week went on, there were two other trespassers who were taken into custody. And a lot of people thought that this might have to do with Kendrick Lamar because of their beef, but then it came out that allegedly it could have been the Weeknd's security, because apparently his security got into it with Drake's security. So they're thinking that's who did the drive-by. But and then I also heard that Drake listed his LA home for sale. But Lanier, what are your thoughts on, first of all, do you think this has to do with anything with the beef or the battle rap or whatever? Or is this really just what?
Who knows?
Right.
Battle rap is a part of the hip hop culture, right?
Right.
What Kendrick and Drake were doing is nursery school-ish compared to if you watch battle raps on YouTube.
Yeah.
They go hard in each other's faces. If you're watching battle raps on YouTube, like, so that's child play.
Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate that it's other people who create the tsunami of destruction.
Yeah.
When stuff like this happens. Excuse me. So I don't know what to cause for what.
Yeah.
But what I do know is that, it's ridiculous. And people really don't understand that these are their lives, not yours.
Right.
You are not a part of their life. And people get into their feelings, and I've seen all kinds of stuff doing that. That whole back and forth, like, why are you taking this personal? You got some stake in this? What's wrong with you?
Right. Exactly.
Like, you got to understand the dynamic of hip hop and how that works. Whether you think Drake won, whether you think Kendrick won, let's keep it all the way funky. And somebody made a good point. Kendrick is from LA. Period.
Yeah.
LA is going to pull hard for Kendrick, not Hollywood. LA.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? That they're going to pull hard for Kendrick because that's where he's from. So it was an interesting going back and forth. But listen, that Meet the Grams had me in a chokehold. I ain't even gonna hold you.
Yeah, and Kendrick Lamar's song went #1 on Billboard. Brittany, what are your thoughts on this? Drake having these issues at the house and the back and forth, The battle rap beef, whatever.
I'm so confused. Like, is it really that serious between them?
Apparently, they have a
I
long history of this.
They have a long
I did not
history.
know it was this serious, and I feel like it's so unnecessary. And I feel like Cat Williams kicked off like this beef with everybody, and everybody been beefing ever since he went on that show. I just didn't know it was that serious.
We saw Shaq release a diss track towards Shannon Sharp.
I need Shaq to go sit down somewhere.
He did. He did.
He need to go sit down somewhere.
Yeah. All right. Well, Queen Naja and her boyfriend Clarence, they have the internet talking after fans brought up a long-term relationship and their response. So they were on live, and Queen Naja was asked. There was a couple. They've been together for 10 years, and they've lived together for 4 years. And she was asking, should she stay if he hasn't proposed at that point? And she said that they were having a discussion about it, and the boyfriend said something that depends on the age. It could be, she's older, maybe they don't want to get married or he don't want to get married. But she was saying sometimes you have to leave your boyfriend to find your husband. And so they kind of had the conversation. Well, the internet, of course, they don't sleep, and they were questioning, well, y'all been together a long time, y'all not married. What's going on? So of course they had to clap back. But do you think there's a time frame? Because Queen Naja was saying that she believes that a man knows if he's going to marry the woman or not. And in 10 years, and y'all lived together 4 years, it's not like y'all haven't lived together to see what it's like. What I'll ask you there.
I feel like everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
Jay and I have been together for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, but there are different dynamics that play a part in that.
Right.
Have we talked about marriage? Yes. Have we talked about, other stuff? Yes, we have those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that I have going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if I can think about that fully right now.
Yeah.
But I did say to him, I was like, I'm not to let me throw a big wedding. I'm like, we can go to the Justice of the Peace and have a big cookout afterward.
Right.
So it all depends on where you are in your relationship. And and if each party wants to move forward, or if you're comfortable with where you are. But if you're not having conversations, well, then that you're not even contributing to finding out what it is that each other wants.
Yeah.
We talk all the time. That's why I love him so much. We talk all the time, and we are our own worst enemies individually, because sometimes you believe you don't deserve that goodness of somebody special like that in your life, and that self-sabotage is a real thing.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know, who I guess, ultimately, yeah, I want to get married someday. You know what I mean? So when that happens is when it just like me leaving that job.
Right.
Took me 10 years to leave that job.
Yeah.
So what I'm a rush into that for? That's
Exactly. What do you think, Brittany?
Okay, I couldn't unmute myself. I'm sorry. But I think there are a lot of factors involved, like your age, your maturity, where you are in life and stuff like that. So I do think it deserves a conversation on what is the intention here, like where are our goals, where are we going with this. But 10 years is a long time, and 10 years and a baby, and you got all this other stuff going on for you. So that's a long time to give somebody, and y'all, it ain't even an engagement ring involved or something like that. Like, I don't know. I would definitely be like, at her age, yeah, he needs to marry me. Especially because I don't really know what Clarence does for a living.
Yeah, apparently I was reading that he was kind of her come up, not like that he used her for that, but she kind of like brought him up.
Yeah, like I don't really know what he does. And I'm sorry, you're not gonna be riding this wave without some form of commitment.
I wonder when she I wonder what she said. Sometimes you have to leave your boyfriend to find your husband. If she was throwing a hit at him, I don't know. What you gonna say on this?
So it's interesting. You'd lay down with him and make a baby,
That's what
but
people saying.
you won't make the demand to make you a wife first.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's a problem because that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
You got to do that self-reflection. Matter of fact, case in point, the wedding that I went to yesterday, they've been together for 13 years and 2 kids.
Yep.
13 years and 2 kids. And he finally decided to propose. And I mean, the bride, who I know and I love her, she started dropping hints 5 years ago. She made a Pinterest board and everything. You understand what I'm saying? Like, she honest, this is my man, and I want to make it official. He about to start getting these hints. So, I mean, and they were young. Yeah, they're in their 30s. So 13 years, she had her mindset. It just took him a minute.
Yeah.
You know
I'm with Linnea. After like all the relationships, I've been in 2. And the last one where I had kids with, my next one, I'm not having kids without the discussion of marriage and what the expectation is on that and when you gonna marry me. Like, it does come a point where a woman has to be like, I'm not bringing no kids into this.
Yep, and that's on us as women. I mean, I ain't have no more kids because mine's is grown and old, but that's our responsibility as women. What do you really want? You know what I mean? Do you want him to make you a wife first and then have kids? Because some dudes, not all of them, they put their kid up in you and they be like, I'm out of this joint. Like,
or they get real comfortable. And they stop doing the things they used to do with you. You don't go on dates no more. I'm like, nah, we ain't doing none of that. I do think she was dropping hints, Steve, and I think she dropped a hint to Clarence because I didn't hear they broke up a few times too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they definitely like been on and off for whatever reason. You know who's a good Shirley Ralph and her husband, right?
Yeah.
They've been for a long time. They never lived together until recently.
Yeah.
They've been married for like over 13 years or something. Yeah. And this is the first time that they've lived together in their marriage because she was in LA and he was doing his thing over here as a senator or whatever in Philly.
Yeah.
So you got that dynamic. I got a husband, but how our lives are and what we do for a living, we can't even live together right now.
Right. Yeah.
We're seeing each other like we're dating.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So everybody's situation
is different.
Everybody's situation is different.
Yeah. I went to a wedding about a month and a half ago, and they had been together over a decade. And he even said when he was doing his vows, he said to her, I know it's taken me a while to get here, but I'm glad that you were patient. You stayed with me, and you can tell they were really much in love. So
right.
But yeah, everyone's situation is different. But I think people and women, people have to know what they want and not be afraid to speak it. Because you don't want to wait 10 years if you know you want to get married. Wait 10 years to find out that he don't want to marry you. You know what I mean? Then we'll take a quick break, come back, find out why Oprah Winfrey is apologizing, and then Pastor Shaunie Henderson, he went on Tamara Hall to explain him hushing his parishioner. Right back after this.